All right, what's going on, Fam Jam, and welcome to Gawgia. Now, this past weekend, we did a chili cook-off, and it was our first year. We wanted to just get out in the community and do a little bit of outreach for the channel, and ended up getting People's Choice first place. So thank you guys if you subscribed around the Rome, Georgia area, and right here, got us a little plaque. Pretty proud of it, actually. And everybody was really happy with the chili, and I told you guys I would give you the recipe, show you how I did it. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to teach you how to make the chili that won People's Choice first place at the Rome, Georgia ChiliFest. So let's dive on in. If you look down in the description, there is a full list of ingredients and an explanation on how to do it, in addition to what I'm going to show you here. Now, the only thing I'm not going to do on camera is just brown the ground beef. I've already browned the ground beef and drained it. That's important. Brown the ground beef and drain. You don't want all that fat in the chili. So get rid of that. Next, what we need is a couple of onions, a bell pepper, and a bunch of sweet peppers. That gives you the pepper flavor, and the heat for the chili will come later. Now, this is the knife that I had there, and the few people that asked me about that. This is a Silver Stag. This is actually Deer Meat for Dinner's chef's knife from Silver Stag. Friend of mine, Robert Arrington, fantastic YouTuber. Go look up Deer Meat for Dinner on YouTube. But I've seen him a multitude of times now, and he is great. He actually went up to Silver Stag up in Washington and created his own chef's knife. Now, this isn't a sponsorship or anything. I was just telling you, I really like the knife. So go check it out at Silver Stag. When you're doing the bell pepper, go around there. You get the most use out of it because we're doing a fine dice. So it's okay. Use the bottom of the pepper. Use as much as you can. And always go not skin through. Do the meat of the pepper and through the skin. It's easier to cut that way. And so I'm going to speed this up so you don't have to watch me chop peppers and onions. But we're going to do a very, very fine dice. I'm going to get it really small and then put it into the pot to saute off the vegetables. So here we go. Now, once you get the stuff chopped, if your cutting board's a little small, you can go ahead and throw this in the pot, or you can just move it over and leave it. That's what I'm going to do, especially if your pot is hot. It's going to take you a minute. You don't want to overcook one of the vegetables. But then dice up 2 medium onions, 1 large onion, or 3 small onions. I got 2 medium onions. All right, so once you get your bell pepper and your onion chopped up, you're going to use a little bit of olive oil, whatever kind of olive oil you want, just a little bit at the bottom. Get the heat down to a medium-low heat, so it'll be a gentle saute. It's not intense. Go ahead and throw it in there. So that way those aren't going to overcook while you're doing your sweet peppers. The sweet peppers add, again, pepper flavor without a lot of heat, and it also just gives you a really nice color. You've got yellow, orange, red, and I just take the tops off. And the positive with chili is it's going to stew. So the vegetables are going to stew down, so you don't have to cook them all the way through on the saute. And on the sweet peppers, they're already small. So you don't have to really, really fine dice like you did with the bell pepper or with the onions. And quick knife tip, if you're doing that, you want to keep your hand like this and use that knuckle. Tuck the fingertips in and use that knuckle as a guide. Way less likely to cut yourself. Also, using a sharp knife is really important. It helps a lot than with a dull knife. And then once you got them like this, you can just do a quick run through just to thin them out a little bit, maybe get them a little bit smaller. It'll go. You can just bunch them up, run your knife through, and then run your knife through the other way. And that helps. So all the sweet peppers cut up now. Throw those in and turn up the heat a bit to go ahead and let all the vegetables start to saute. Always have quick towel around. You can always wipe your hands off. Clean them up real quick. And then, I know everybody says don't use garlic or jarred garlic. I don't have any more fresh. I used it all. In this pinch, it's fine. So, to your taste, don't over garlic it if you don't like garlic. I like a good bit of garlic. So, throw garlic in with your vegetables and then turn the heat up so you can start sauteing. And you just want to keep this moving so you don't over saute the bottom. There's a lot of vegetables in there. So every 2 or 3 minutes, just stir. And then when you hear the sizzle again, stir it again. Okay, so when you get to this point, and I'll show you, when you get to that point, the peppers are starting to wilt, the onions are translucent and everything. I'm gonna add the spice before all the liquid. So, no big secret. Packet of Chilio, I like it with onions. If you don't want any more onions, don't add the onion to it. But I like to do this because it kind of roasts the spice first, and I think it deepens the flavor. So we're gonna add that, and yes, anytime you put something cold inside of a hot pan, it lowers the temperature. So, that, and then stale crackers. Two-step, the Cajun two-step. I add a good little chunk of that seasoning. I'd probably say 2 or 3 teaspoons. And then the secret weapon also from Deer Meat for Dinner, Mr. Robert Arrington, is something called Everglades Heat. Everglades is delicious, and this is their spicy blend, so I would do about a half a bottle of that as well. And that's really going to tone up the heat and tone up the chili flavor. And then you're just going to mix all those spices together with the vegetables. If it's a little dry for you, add a little bit more oil. It's okay. Or we're about to add liquid and it'll deglaze a little bit. But you get a good paste in the pot, and I'm using cast iron. It holds heat, and I like it to use for simmering better than steel pans. So it doesn't take long for that to incorporate all those spices and everything into the vegetables, and you get like almost like a roux, but not really. So that's what it looks like. Ooh, let's get a little bit better light. There we go. So something along those lines, and it's very pasty. You're good. That's what we're looking for. So now what you're going to do is make a little well in the middle of that and put 1 pound of hot Italian sausage. Now I told you to go ahead and brown and drain the ground beef, but you don't want to drain the sausage. If you're a person that doesn't eat pork, don't put this in there. It's easy peasy. You might be able to find hot turkey sausage. Chicken sausage might work as well, but be careful of a lot of the fennel. They tend to add a much denser fennel flavor to turkey and chicken because it's less fat than the pork. So if you don't want to eat pork, don't put this in there. Look for a different kind of sausage. That's perfectly fine. But you don't want to drain this, and you want to put this right in the well. That fat is also going to deglaze the bottom of your pan, and anytime after you touch raw meat, you go wash your hands. Now you got your pork sizzling away, perfectly fine. Let's go render down some of that fat. And you don't have to worry about cooking it all the way through. You're going to simmer this for more than a few hours. I promise you it's going to get to temperature. So just mix your vegetables in with the pork and break up the meat. And here is what I'll say. You can also add your cooked ground beef right in as well. So I've got about 2 pounds right here of cooked and drained, which probably rendered down to, I don't know, 1 3/4 pounds. And this is, if you're cooking with alcohol, which I do, you want to put it in with the meat. The alcohol will cook off. You're not giving anybody alcohol, I promise. But you put the alcohol with the meat. The meat absorbs the flavor of the alcohol better than putting it in with the stew. So let the meat absorb it. You're going to use 2 to 3 ounces of Jack Daniels. So probably right at 1 shot. That's all you need. You don't need a lot of it. What that does is Jack Daniels is sweeter because of charcoal mellowing. So it adds a little bit of sweetness to it, balances out a little bit of the chili you're going after, the chili flavor, like the peppers and the hot sauce and everything. And then, but it does add a smoky flavor from the oak barrels. And then you're going to use 4 or 5 ounces of red wine. This deepens flavor. I love cooking venison, ground beef, anything like that, or a good red sauce with red wine. It just deepens it. I'm using a Cab Sav. You can use Merlot. And it doesn't have to be an expensive wine. That bottle's like $10. Just get a good flavored wine and you're fine. It's okay to cook with wine. Get in the kitchen, experiment with it. You may mess up. You may not. It may turn out delicious. So I use Cab Sav. Again, you can use a dry red. Don't use a sweet red. It'll kind of mess up the flavor of the chili. And you already smell the spices mixed with the vegetables, with the flavor that's going to come out of the wine. Already smells delicious. So at this point, you've got everything mixed together. It is roasting away really well. And again, this is going to simmer for a long time. So you don't have to get all the meat super broken up. It does help if you chop up, especially the pork sausage, and not make a mess. But it's going to simmer for a while. And so once that's good and incorporated, you think the pork sausage has done its job. You've deglazed the bottom of your pan with the wine and the Jack. You're going to have what looks like meat and peppers. So that's what it is. You got a lot of flavor in there. So the next thing you're going to do is I do 1 can of crushed tomatoes and 1 can of tomato puree. Right there. And you're going to add those in. Now, you're going to finish this with water to let it simmer. So go ahead and grab some of your water. Throw it in that can. Rinse the can out. Don't waste all that stuff around the can. Don't waste all that flavor. You paid for it, might as well use it. And then the puree. That gives you a little bit. I don't like diced tomatoes in it because I don't like tomato chunks. If you like tomato chunks, use diced tomatoes. I don't. I like it a little bit smoother, so that's why I use crushed and puree. So once you have 1 can rinsed out, pour it in your other can. This one's good and rinsed out. You can toss it. Rinse that one. So those are those 2 cans, and then you're going to use 2 cans of Bush's Green Label Chili Starter Beans. They're awesome. You don't want to drain this. You want the liquid because it's got a ton of flavor in the liquid. And you're going to pour those straight in there. They're so good. And then once again, take your water from your can. Rinse your can out. Give it a little slosh, and you're all right. Once again, you got all that in there, and then mix it together. You really want all those flavors and stuff to blend. At this point, you can turn the heat down. If you feel stuff at the bottom of your pan, you can scrape a little bit just to make sure it doesn't stick. And now I know it sounds crazy, but there are a few more things to throw in here. And one of which is a 12 ounce, or about 8 ounces of Dr. Pepper. It's crazy, I know. I went and got the pure cane sugar Dr. Pepper. If you just have a can of Dr. Pepper, it's more than fine. Add about half. A little bit more. Okay, I know, it sounds crazy. Doesn't make sense, but trust me, everybody liked it, and I did this at the Chili Cook-Off, or ChiliFest. And shout out to Tyler and everybody at the Rome ChiliFest. Those guys are awesome. You can go check it out at the Rome Parks and Recreation Authority website, see the breakdown of everybody. And next year, they'll give you an alert, and you can go do chili cook-off too. It's a lot of fun. You hang out all night. Everybody was fantastic. And it's just a fun way to get with a good group of people that you're just cooking chili and having fun. So once you've got the Dr. Pepper Incorporated kidney beans. Now, I like light red kidney beans, not dark red, because the skin's a little bit less intense. But if you like dark red, that's cool. If you prefer black beans, that's cool. Do it to your flavor. I'm just going the exact recipe that I made at the cook-off. So add your kidney beans. Those do need to be drained. That syrup does not go well in it, so drain those. And then Louisiana hot sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this in there. This gives you, again, more pepper taste. If you want really spicy chili, add a spicier hot sauce. If you don't want really spicy, Louisiana's great. Not a huge spice, not intense spice, but you get a lot of flavor out of it, which is why I like it so well. And then mix those in. And you're going to want this to simmer covered for 2 to 3 hours. That keeps the water in the pot that would normally steam off, and it cycles through. That gets all the spices to meld together. That gets everything to blend together. That makes it taste really good. You can add water here to help with that emulsion process. And then you're going to let it simmer uncovered until it's the consistency that you like. But it's important to simmer it covered for 2 to 3 hours. And that way you don't lose any of your moisture, and that lets it just blend. That melds all the flavors together. So we'll show you what that is here. All right, guys. So when it's simmered 2.5, 3 hours, it is time. See how that steam? The top has held all the moisture in, so that has stopped it from like losing the moisture. So now, you know, it has done pretty good when it looks like that. Still simmering away. So now I want you to stir it. You should have been stirring it every 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You're going to stir. Make sure you get everything off the bottom so it doesn't stick, it doesn't burn. So now I want you to just let it simmer uncovered. All that moisture is going to simmer off until it's the consistency that you want. It's still pretty thin. You could see that when I stirred. I like a good thicker chili, so I'll show you that when it gets done simmering uncovered. But if you like a thinner chili, then just turn the heat off whenever it gets to the consistency that you like. I'll show you the consistency that I like. And again, that's why I like it in cast iron, is cast iron holds its heat really well, so you can use a low heat, keep it on a simmer for a longer point, and it's great. So now you've simmered it 2.5, 3 hours, covered. I want you to take the top off and let it simmer to the consistency that you like. If you like thinner, don't let it simmer as long. If you like a good, hearty, thick chili, let it continue to simmer. The water, the moisture will boil off. And I got it a little too high, so you want it on a low heat here. The lower the heat, the less likely it is to burn on the bottom, scald on the bottom, but it will take longer to reduce down. So that's all you're doing, is reducing the moisture, concentrating the flavor until it gets to the consistency that you like. Alrighty, guys, and that will do it. So, just to let everybody see, this is about the consistency that I like. So that's really it. You've got everything. You can continue to reduce it if you like. But that's pretty much where I would serve the chili if you were at the chili cook-off. This is about the consistency that I served it at. And the great thing is that if you don't use it all, let it come down to room temperature, including the cast iron. You can put the top right on there, set it in the fridge, and it's almost always better the next day as well. So if you wanted People's Choice first place chili, and you were at the chili cook-off and wanted to know how to make it, there it is. There's the recipe, and there's how to do it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know how it turns out for you, or any questions in the comments. Do me a favor, if you haven't so far, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I upload new videos, new music, and maybe some more cooking videos. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we will see y'all next time. If you happen to see me around, feel free to come and say hello. But until next time, Fam Jam, I'm out.